Let's get the vibes out in Indianapolis for the NFL Combine with New York Giants host and analyst Madelyn Burke. Live from Indy, it's Madelyn Burke.
Thank you. I love the intro, Brandon.
For you, only the best. You just wrapped up Big Blue Kickoff Live with John Schmelk. You guys did a great job with that. You've been out in Indianapolis for the last couple of days. So far, it's only been the interviews and the players talking to the media. You know all about this New York media. Who's kind of stood out so far in terms of they can handle New York and its media and its vloggers, bloggers, all those content creators that we have here?
I think all these guys at the podium have done very well and been very direct. I've been impressed with some of the candid self-scouting of these guys as well. But some of the narratives and the storylines that are popping up that are especially interesting to Giants fans is the connections. I mean, USC safety Kalen Bullock, he's actually Darnay Holmes' younger cousin, and he said he met with the Giants and was surprised that when he walked in the room, they knew his nickname, which is Super Glue. And he's like, oh, Darnay must have told him that. It's like, why is Super Glue your nickname? He said, well, I used to play wide receiver and I just never drop anything. So, of course, my old coach called me Super Glue, and I thought that was sweet. And then Penn State linebacker Curtis Jacobs also, he grew up a Giants fan. His favorite player was Brandon Jacobs because, of course, as a kid, you want to buy a jersey with your own last name on the back of it. So, but he said as he's getting ready for this combine, Brandon Jacobs reached out to him. And he thought, how cool is it? Like, it's amazing that you have your hero reach out to you and tell you that you're doing the right things and they're proud of you. And so all these guys that are out here, you know, working hard, trying to realize their dreams. There's so many interesting stories that you're getting and personalities you're getting to know for these guys. Of course, we've heard a lot of the defensive guys. We heard Brock Bowers had by far the biggest crowd of the tight ends this afternoon, but of course the tight ends, DBs. And then tomorrow will be the quarterbacks, wide receivers at the podium, and then workouts start later tonight.
You and John Schmelk had a really good conversation with Giants GM Joe Schoen. Can you kind of take us into that? What were your biggest takeaways from that conversation that he didn't give during his media availability? You guys got the exclusive.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's hard to differentiate. It's all blurring together, Brandon, so I can't tell what we got from him when. But I will say one of the biggest things that stood out to me is, you know, the salary cap number. That came in and we were all like, whew, look at these dollars. And Joe Schoen and the Giants front office had the exact same reaction. They were anticipating it to be between 241, 243. When it came in above 255, like, okay, we have a little bit more room for doing the things that we want to do here. You know, he's going to be letting the running back market dictate the value there when he's talking about Saquon Barkley and that negotiation. He is optimistic and, you know, pointed out the fact that, hey, Saquon has changed representation since last year, since these negotiations happened last year. So it will probably be a different conversation. How that conversation goes remains to be seen. Also, Xavier McKinney, another free agent that is, you know, top priority for this Giants team. He'll be meeting with Xavier's representatives as well. And one of the things that I asked him, you brought this up earlier, is like, hey, how are these guys handling the media and can they handle the New York media? I asked Joe Schoen, you know, this is something that is talked about a lot, but how can you tell if a guy can handle that kind of a thing? You know, there's different personality types or different ways that players and people can show you that they can handle it. He says, you know, that's a good question. And you got to look at the way that they've had adversity or if they've had adversity. And some players have had more than others, and whether it be personally, professionally, on the field, off the field, and how they handle that, how they navigate that shows, you know, their ability to handle some tough circumstances, which you're going to be having at the NFL level as a star player in general, especially playing in the New York media market.
So what's up on the agenda and the itinerary for the rest of the week for you and for these players?
Well, so let's see. Tonight, the workouts start. So we'll be heading over to Lucas Oil Stadium in just a few hours, and we'll see the DNs, the defensive players, some of the defensive players getting on the field first. So D linemen, I believe, are going today. Tomorrow at the podium, you'll be hearing quarterbacks and wide receivers. And then on the field, tight ends and defensive backs will be getting their workouts. Saturday, you'll see the quarterbacks, the wide receivers on the field, and then Sunday, the offensive linemen on the field. So it is a whole lot of stuff, evaluation, talent evaluations going on, interview processes. Of course, these coaching staffs and scouting staffs have been in these interview processes well into the night. You see them coming out of these interview rooms 11:30 p.m., wrapping up a day of job interviews. And so these are really long days because, of course, the podium starts at 8 a.m. for some of these players. They're doing 12 hours of medical and whatnot. And so there's a lot going on out here. But these are very excruciating job interviews for these young men. And it's exciting to see who's going to be ending up where as these, mock drafts keep changing. And of course, we're still about 2 weeks away from free agency, which could shake up a lot of stuff as well.
You and Schmelk have been doing Big Blue Kickoff Live all week. Giants fans have been calling in, talking, speaking with you guys. Are there some names that Giants fans, what are like the biggest names that Giants fans are most excited? Who are they most excited to see perform on the field?
Well, and also got to give a hat tip to Paul Dottino as well. Dots
and
is
Dots,
out here doing
my
BBK.
bad, Dots.
That's all right. That's all right. I got to show some love for the whole squad. There's a lot of players that are not going to be doing on-field workouts, right? A lot of the quarterbacks will not be doing it. Same with the receivers. Some of the receivers are saving it for pro day. Of course, Marvin Harrison Jr. has decided he's not going to do the combine workout nor his pro day workout. He said, you know what, you guys have seen what I can do on a football field, and I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to be preparing for my rookie season. Rome Odunze is going to be doing some work out here at the combine, so I think he's got some intrigue. He's one of the top talked about wide receivers out of Washington, and he's somebody who could really separate himself if he puts up some good numbers, especially considering some of the other top guys will not be doing that work here. Malik Neighbors is going to be doing it, saving it for his pro day as well. And then from the quarterbacks, a lot of the top quarterbacks will not be throwing out here, so it's going to be curious to see who does what. But regardless, how anytime somebody gets on the field those 40 times, we're going to be seeing who can leave. Can anyone leave John Ross in the dust? I doubt it.
It's time to shine, once they get out there on the field. And it's going to be interesting to see who really puts those numbers up. Because like you said, there's a John Ross every year. There's, the Saquons where people go in wanting to see. But I'm anxious to see who's going to be that dark horse. Who's that person that we're not talking about?
Who's going to have the Madelyn Burke vertical is who we need to see. Who's going to have that explosive 1.5-inch vertical?
First round. That's a first round draft grade. Whoever can match your vertical, and that's an inside joke. But maybe we release that video one day. One day. All right.
Exactly.
Thanks for hopping on with us, Madelyn.
Anytime. Thanks, Brandon.